morning, everyone. Found the parking space real easy, so that was a good way to start today. And I want to thank Mr. Crocker for inviting me today and to speak with you students. I always learn when I do prepare. I'm not a public speaker, but I work with a lot of volunteers and do a lot of organization work for our party. My name is Danette Proctor, and I chair the Greene County Republican Central Committee. Central Committee's job is to elect Republicans. Central Committee, we do not get on our local level, at the committee level, we do not get involved in issues. We do have various clubs in Greene County that do have speakers on the issues, and they also have our primary candidates, so you can see all of the candidates and their positions. Central Committee as a whole, and I as chair, have to remain neutral through the primary, and that's very difficult, but you have to. You have to be fair to everyone. However, we do encourage every Central Committee member to study the candidates and get behind the candidates that they believe in and work hard for them and work for a win. As soon as our primaries are over and we have our winners, we all get behind those winners and push for a final win. Now, sometimes there may be a winner in our Republicans that us as Republicans cannot get behind, and that does happen. And if that does happen, you are to, according to our Central Committee, what we preach is you be quiet, but you go help somebody else win.
Can I just
yes,
interject real quick? That's super interesting to me. Obviously, most people that run under your umbrella you are supportive of, but you're saying from time to time, should you have a candidate that doesn't quite line up or that you can't approve of and be conscious, that you are not mandated to promote them?
That's correct, but we do ask you to be quiet. And that happened in our presidential campaign with Cruz and Trump. This is Cruz country down here, and Cruz won.
Meaning that people in this district largely voted for Cruz in the Republican primary?
Right, in the 7th Congressional District, yes. And we have a map that'll kind of show you that in your handouts there. It also happened in our governor's race. We had 4 great candidates in our governor's race, and one come out ahead. And a lot of our people down here were not for him to begin with, but they forgot those differences and got behind him and pushed, and we won. And that was a very difficult race.
But you're not mandated to do that?
No.
Okay.
No, and there were some that could not get behind either of those, and they were just quiet, and they would help a state rep or senator or another candidate.
Just don't work against him or her. Yeah, okay.
That is correct. That's correct. I have been chair for a little over 9 years, and I've served on the Greene County Central Committee for 37 years. I became active in politics when I was in high school. I was selected, I don't know how, but selected to go to Girls State, and that was very advantageous to me. I also helped, there was a big Democrat family, I grew up in the Willard area. That family is still there, we're great friends, but I would help them. They had a child my age, and we would go to their Jackson Days, which we have Lincoln Days, which yesterday was Lincoln's birthday, but I would go with them to their Jackson Days and help put out push pieces and sticker people. And that's how I got involved in politics. Then I married, and my husband was a strong Republican family, so I was converted to a Republican at a very young age. I am a volunteer. I am not paid. Greene County is the only county in Missouri that has a Republican headquarters that is open 12 months out of the year, and that's very helpful to keep continuity for us here. Our headquarters is located at 1345 East Sunshine, just across from Mercy, next to Mexican Villa. And the Democrat headquarters is less than a block away from us, so we're close to that headquarters also. We do have a part-time secretary and many volunteers. Our goal is to provide information to those individuals who are interested in our Republican Party in Springfield and in Greene County. Our mission is to educate, promote, and elect Republicans. And I've put this on an outline because we're going to get into some pretty deep bullet points that can get very confusing. So that outline, I hope, will help you. The first item we're going to talk about is introduction to our party and its philosophy. The Republican Party was started in 1854 and has been guided by a philosophy that is marked by 2 points. 1, a commitment to individualism, and 2, the free enterprise system. As Republicans, we hold social, economic, and political stability can be best achieved with a minimum of federal government intervention. The party accepts the ideas that the government closest to the individual can serve the citizens best and at the lowest cost. For this reason, the party has a long distinguished history of activity into local elections. This activity is based on the premise that political power held locally rather than nationally will ensure good government, and this is what Mr. Crocker was referring to. But as we develop these people on the local level, many of them will go on up the ladder, and you'll see them changing from state reps to senators, and our Senator Blunt started out as a Greene County clerk, so you will see them going up the ladder.
You know, we've actually talked about that with policies. We talked about how states are oftentimes the laboratories for national policy, but that also works for candidates as well,
Yes.
for people in office as well. They use the lower offices, and as the more successful or more influential ones get reputability, they can move up a ladder.
They can move on up. And a lot of times we're chastised for that. We think, well, we're just making a spot for them. But and it could be abused. But I think as you see our candidates work and how they do, and if they want to go on, and we want them to, I think that's a good step for them. And it's a good step for us, because they're a proven candidate, and we know a proven office holder. The party holds that those who cannot provide for themselves should be assisted by the government through local government if possible. Again, we like to keep it down on the local level. And we also feel that they should be helped by society, but that every effort should be made to help them become self-supporting and independent. We want to help them, give them a hand up, and get them out on their own so that they can be productive, have families, have jobs. The party looks to the federal government for the maintenance of sound money and responsible economy. We also expect the federal government to maintain a strong defense. This is a big part of what we want to protect us as Americans. The party believes that equal rights, equal justice, and equal opportunity for all should be a national right regardless of sex, creed, race, age, or national origin. The party supports the security of the individual through support of our Constitution, our laws, and our courts. These concepts are the foundation of our strength as a political party and as a promise for the future of our nation. And this was adopted by our Greene County Republican Central Committee many years ago. So that is our local philosophy here in Greene County. Our party structure, and this can get a little confusing, so follow your outline. You may want to take some notes on there. The Missouri Republican Party is truly a grassroots-driven organization. Our party is built from the ground up. We start right here in Greene County and all the other counties in our state. We begin with representatives that are elected from precincts, townships, and wards. Without a strong local party structure, we cannot succeed at the state level. I want to define a precinct, township, or ward. This is where you begin, this is where I began in politics. Precinct, township, and ward are election districts. These terms may be used interchangeably. The size of the precinct may vary. Precincts are determined by your county clerk, not by a political party. And right now that is Shane Scholler. And it's based on population. Greene County, we have 60 precincts. And now how you form our central committee. A man and woman are elected in August primaries of each even numbered years to serve a 2-year term as a committee person for their voting precinct or ward. If all of our committee positions were filled, we would have 120 committee men and women. We're not all full, and we'd like to be full. All committee people are voting members. The role of the committee person is to build the party by establishing in his or her voting district a network of Republicans, voters, who will support and work for the candidate during the election time. That's the basic, that's our central committee. Then from our central committee, we go into our legislative districts. We reorganize every 2 years in central committee and all these legislative districts and what I'll go through. At our first reorganizational meeting at central committee each year, we will elect our chairs, vice chairs, and then the next day, or it's usually that evening, we will break out into our legislative districts. And by legislative district, we have 8 of them in Greene County. They start at 130 with the Republic Willard area and go over to 137 more to the east of us. And they will break out in those districts, and in those districts they will elect a chair and a vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. Those are very important positions, especially your legislative chair and vice chair, and you'll see how that works. So our legislative districts, these are voting members of those districts, and we elect that in August. Then our next organization is our Congressional District Committee, and there are the voting members of that are your chair and vice chair of the county. So I as chair would be a member of our congressional, and my vice chair, which is Bill Owen, and also it includes your legislative chair and vice chair within the districts, and we are in the 7th congressional district. So all of those legislative chairs and vice chairs that we elected in Greene County would go to the 7th meeting. Also, all the other counties would go, those chairs and vice chairs, as well as their legislative chairs and vice chairs. And we do have 10 counties in the 7th congressional district, so you can see we started out small and we're starting to get a little bigger now. Then we go, our next is our Senator District Committee. And this is a little different. You're voting members of that. And in Greene County, we have the 20th Senatorial, which is basically outside, and the 30th is the donut hole. And the donut hole is the one I'm in, the 30th, and that is Bob Dixon. And the 20th, which is more rural, is Senator Watson. And those voting members are comprised on the Senate District Committee of the chairs and vice chairs of the county committees, so I would be one, and the legislative committee within the district. So it's not just limited to the legislative chair and vice chair. If you are in that district of the 20th or 30th, you can go to those meetings there. And those meetings at the Senate are very important. Their main thing, again, they'll reorganize and get their chairs and vice chairs, but in the fall, they elect our state committee man and woman. And that's very important because that person's going to move on up to the state level. We also have, and it is not activated in Greene County because we have a nonpartisan court plan, but the party does have a judicial district committee. And those voting members are comprised of chairs and vice chairs of the county committees, and again, the legislative chairs and vice chairs within the district.
So what is their role then? I mean, since we have a just in case anybody's not as familiar as you are, we have a nonpartisan judicial system in Missouri, which means the political parties play a minimum role at best in selecting judges. So if they have a judge committee, what do they do? Okay,
this is Greene County, we're nonpartisan. Other counties are.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Greene County, we voted a few years ago and we're nonpartisan. I would love to go back to voting on our judges. I like that. But the nonpartisan plan does have its pluses too. It's very expensive to run an election, and this way, if the judges ran an election, they may have to raise, I don't know, 100,000, 50,000, 200,000. And again, that can be tainted with a judge. So the nonpartisan plan takes that tainting out of it, and what we have a committee, and I think there's 5 on it, and I'm not sure who appoints those 5, maybe the governor, I'm not sure. But it's supposed to be Democrat, Republican, Independent, and then people will apply, if a judge is open, one retires or one passes away, people in our area will apply. We've appointed about 3 or 4 judges just very recently here. That committee will interview those and will send up 3 of the top ones in their consideration to our governor. Then our governor appoints one of those out of that. Now, he doesn't have to. He doesn't like those 3. He can pick another. another one, but that doesn't normally happen. It will be interesting because we have had a Democrat governor for very long. We do now have a Republican governor, so it will be interesting to see how he responds to those that are sent up to him. But we do not activate the Judicial District Committee in Greene County. Other counties do, because they have to, if something would happen to a judge, then this committee would meet, and then they would take their recommendation to the governor. The Democrat committee would do the same. And so they'd have two people, the governor, to pick from. Our final step in Missouri is our Missouri Republican State Committee, and the voting members there are composed of one man and one woman elected at each Senate district. And again, that's where Darrell and I are the 20th. We were elected at that Senate district. In Greene, okay, and we have the 30th senatorial, which would have 2 people, and we have the 20th, which would have 2 people. So Greene County's got 4 people sitting on that committee. The final step is the Republican National Committee, and the voting members on that are comprised of our state chairman. We have a new state chairman, that is Todd Graves, and he is elected by the Missouri Republican State Committee. We elected him in January. And also, who else sits on that committee are a national committee man and committee woman, and they are elected by our state committee to represent Missouri, the RNC. And we're very fortunate. One of those state committee men is Gordon Finney, and he is here from Springfield and a businessman, and he was just delighted to win that. He was very humble to win that, and he won that at our state convention in Branson. So we have a direct contact with him. He, at our central committee meetings, gives us a lot of updates, what's going on the national level, and he will tell you now that he's there. It starts right here. You'll get it done here. When you get up there, it's more difficult, so start down here at your grassroots.
Why would you say that is? Why would you say it's easier on the local level?
We know each other, we've got a good network, and we push hard. It should, probably like Washington DC, it gets tougher. And that's why you want to send good people up there, and I'm tickled we have Gordon. He's very aggressive. He wants to do what we want to do, and he will push. A lot of them don't. So I'm glad to have Gordon, so we'll see what he can get done. What should a county committee man and woman do? On our Greene County Central Committee, you should have a Republican presence in your community events. You need to recruit Republican candidates for countywide and municipal offices, and this happens all the time. If you know a good person that would be good in that, you let us know. We network them in and we vet them, but that's part of our job. We identify and we register Republicans. We assist in GOTV, that is get out the vote efforts. That's right before your elections. We have phone banks, we call, we have people knocking doors, we send postcards, and so you as Central Committee members are expected to get out and do that final push in our GOTV. And you help elected Republicans. Again, you study those candidates and get behind that one of your choice and push for a win. And we attend Central Committee meetings. Some of them don't, but you're supposed to. And by statute, you only have to have 4 Central Committee meetings a year. We usually have 5, and you'll find as I get down into the clubs, that's where a lot of our people learn and get involved, is through our club activity. Central Committee meetings, we do our kind of business of the Central Committee. Last year, 2016, was the year of caucuses and conventions. Every 4 years, Missouri conducts a series of local caucuses culminating in congressional district and state district conventions. County committees play an important role and a big role in getting this process started. The county parties are responsible for selecting our location, and you don't know how big it will be. 4 years ago, we had 1,000. Last year, we had 300. But you have to prepare for that, and we have to pay for it too. So that's part of our budget, is paying for our caucus every 4 years. We have to organize that caucus, and we run the early stages of the caucus, because one of the first things you do is elect your chair and vice chair. And I have been fortunate to have chaired the last 2, but